Okay. All right. Good morning, everybody. I'm excited to be here. Uh, it's a privilege to have you guys here this morning. There are a lot of things you would have used your Saturday for, but you decided to be here. And I really want to appreciate your presence. I don't take it for granted at all. Right? Hazel, you're welcome. Tokwe, you're welcome. Joe, you're welcome. Loretta, Precious, my Oga, Stephen, Vicky, you're welcome. And my second half, you're welcome as well. I told myself that I wasn't going to get discouraged by numbers. And because as the convener of this program, it's very easy to get distracted when you come and you don't see a lot of crowd, you don't see the number you're expecting. It's very easy to get distracted, to get frustrated, right? So I'm trying to tell you right now that I am not frustrated by the number. And if I'm not frustrated, it means you have no right to be frustrated, right? Because I'm the one that put the program together. Right, so don't be moved by numbers. Don't be moved by, okay, how many people are here, how many people didn't come, and all of that. I want your mind to be expectant. I want you to soak the information you're going to get like a sponge this morning. Are we together? Are we together? Yeah, so I really appreciate your presence. It's part of the process. It's also an instruction to you that whatever it is you're starting, don't expect a lot of people to cash into it. Do you understand? It's part of the process. So whatever you're starting, you have to be willing to go through the necessary processes before you arrive at what people can define as success. Because success, as we know it, is defined from two perspectives. There's man's definition of success and there's God's definition of success, right? Most times we are moved by man's definition of success. We are moved by numbers. We are moved by, the crowd, people, and all of that. But I'm trying to tell you that whatever God has called you to do, He expects you to be faithful to it, irrespective of the number you have. Are we together? Whether you have, I told myself, whether it was one person, even though it was me and my wife that came here today, I will still speak very passionately. That's the right attitude to have towards life. All right, so we're going to be talking about personal leadership, but before we get into that, I want to create a hunger within you. I want you to be dissatisfied with where you are currently. Now, when you look around, you see a lot of mediocre people who are living average lives. In your workplace, in your community, sadly, even in the church, there are a lot of people who are okay with living averagely, with living at a very mediocre level. And God has a lot of expectations on each and every one of us. And God's expectations is not going to be lowered. God's standard is not going to be lowered. I want you to be dissatisfied with where you are. Be dissatisfied with just the normal state of life. Be dissatisfied with what the society defines as success. And you must push the boundaries further to fulfill the purpose God has designed for you. It's very important. Please, when it's 1 hour, when it's getting to 1 hour, please let me know. Okay? So there's a template that society has defined for success, right? And so in our conventional society, when you're born, you're told to go to school, right? You go to school, go to the 6334 system. Am I correct? 6334, yes? Okay. You go through the 6334 system, and then after that, it's expected that you should have a job, or you start looking for a job, start earning money, and then afterwards, it's expected that you get married, or you start building a family, right? And I've seen that this is the template that society has defined as being successful. When you have an education, when you've gone to school, you have a job, you get married, People begin to view you as successful. Have you noticed? When somebody or when a guy is of let's say from 25, right, and he has a job, he has money, people's expectations are, guy, when are you getting married? When are you getting married? As a lady, once you get to that age, they begin to look at you and ask you, how far? When are you getting married? Nobody is really interested in the vision that God has given you concerning your life. Nobody's interested in your actualization of the purpose that God made you to become. So there's a mold, there's a template that has been defined, and whether we like it or not, to a very large extent, we are all living in that template. It will take you to be rebellious, to rebel against the system for you to have any significant impact in life. Because there's something God has in mind for you when He made you. There's a purpose, there's a why to your life. And it's expected that you should live out that why. Why are you here? Why are you existing in the first place? I don't think this is all there is to life. This is not all there is to life. If you study the lives of people who are high flyers, their life don't follow this template. And neither should yours. Be angry with the state where you are. Be dissatisfied with the state where you are. Actually, the first step into becoming successful is dissatisfaction. When you're dissatisfied with where you are, then you can now push the boundaries for something better. But if you're okay with where you are, you're okay with everything, chances are that you will remain that way. But when you're dissatisfied, you're not okay with where you are, when you're hungry for more, when you're desperate for more, that is the first step for you to begin to actualize success. That's the first step for you to begin to actualize the very reason why God made you. So be dissatisfied. Be dissatisfied. Be dissatisfied with mediocrity. Be dissatisfied with being average. Be dissatisfied with just living the normal life as defined by society. Be hungry for more. And there's actually more out of life. You know, the way we live life sometimes is almost as if we're going to live life twice. But life is once, and you should give it everything you have. You should give it every single thing you have. It's not a rehearsal for another life. This is what we have. This is it. And everything we do, our actions, our inactions, your choices will define how you end up. So if you're making the right choices, obviously it means that you're going to end up at the right destination. If you're making the wrong choices, you're going to end up at the wrong destination. Life is not very complicated. It's just decisions and actions. Your actions will define where you're going to end up. Are we together? Yes. So by the things you do and by the things you don't do, you are actually crafting what your destination in life is going to be like. And trust me, one of the most painful things is to get to the end of your life and realize that, I didn't live life as much as I should have. Or I didn't do the things that God put me on the earth to do. Have you seen people who have reached their 50s, their 60s, their 70s, and life looks like a regret? So there's a pain of regret, there's a pain of discipline. You cannot discipline yourself now to begin to actualize the things that God has called you to do, or you can just fold your hands and be okay with a normal life. And trust me, when you get to that stage in life, it's going to be regrets, and there's no coming back into time to relive life. I'm saying all of this to bring you to the point of dissatisfaction, to make you understand that life is one and you have to give it your best. Everything that it will take you to live a fulfilled life is what you should be doing right now. Are we together? Are we together? So be dissatisfied with where you are. That's the first step to actualize success. Be dissatisfied. If you're a business person, you're a married person, or you're trying to just actualize God's purpose for your life, be dissatisfied with what you're doing right now. Push the boundaries beyond where you are, because if you understand what potential is, you never arrive at success. You keep on pushing the boundaries. So that means that you should never get to the point where you feel like, oh, I've arrived, I'm doing okay now. No. Always push the boundaries. As long as you're living, as long as you can still draw breath, always push the boundaries. Be dissatisfied with where you are. Are we together? Are we together? Joe, next slide. So, I know we all have a loose definition of what leadership is, right? But I like to give it my own definition. Most times when I do the Activate series, I like to define things with my own words, because it will help me to give better explanation and perspective to it, right? So I define leadership as the discipline of taking a person or a group of people to and through the actualization of a vision or goal. The discipline of taking a person or a group of people to and through the processes required for actualizing a vision or a goal. This is very important. There are a lot of words I'm going to be picking out from that definition to talk about. So, for you to be an effective leadership, for you to be an effective leader, rather, what it means is that there has to be a vision. Leadership implies that there is a place that we are going to, right? So, if there's no vision, where are we going to? If there's no destination, where are we headed to? As a person, I'm sure everybody here has gotten a glimpse of what God has called you to do. There's a vision, there's something you've seen about your life, there's something you've seen about your future that God has shown you. You have the responsibility of going to and through the processes that will lead you to the actualization of that vision. So, leadership exists in the first place because there is a vision to actualize. There is a goal that needs to be met. That something needs to be done. And so, if I say I have a goal or I have a vision, I begin to walk towards that vision. Leadership is me staying focused on that vision, going through all the processes that will make me reach that particular place. All right, and this word vision. Vision and destination, or what we like to call destiny, is very synonymous. All right, so when somebody says, I'm trying to fulfill my destiny, what you're doing is you're trying to get to the end goal of what you've seen about your life, about what God has shown you concerning your life. All right, so there needs to be a vision for you to even say you are going to lead yourself to actualize it. So I want to ask you this morning, what has God shown you concerning your life? What is it that burns within your heart? What is that thing that He has called you to do? We're going to be talking a lot about time. All of your existence is meant to bring you to the completion of that vision that He has showed you. All of what you're doing on earth, forget about what we're doing. Right? Most of the time we are spending a lot of time on secondary stuff. Why? The major thing that God put us on earth for, we've not even started scratching the surface yet. We are so concerned about our job, we are concerned about making more money, we are concerned about getting married and living the family life, which is all very good, don't get me wrong. All of these things are very good, right? But we must give our time to the realization of the vision that God has given to us. You must decide that what God put me on earth for, through thick and thin, I'm going to actualize it. That is the only way to be fulfilled. Have you not seen people who have money and are not fulfilled? There are people who seem to have it all, they're not fulfilled. That's because there's no vision that drives them. There's no vision beyond themselves that drives them. So what has God called you to do? What is the vision that burns within your heart? What is it that He has called you to actualize on the face of the earth? I'm telling you, when the vision burns within you, it becomes very easy to attain personal leadership. So there are different forms of leadership, right? It's leadership within a community, it's leadership of a country, leadership in a family. At different levels and strata, there are different kinds and forms of leadership. But personal leadership is very integral to every other kind of leadership. What do I mean by that? If you cannot lead yourself personally, it's very likely that you will fail in any other kind of leadership. Now, personal leadership is the most difficult kind of leadership. And the reason why it's like that is because there are no external restraints. If you are leading a church, for example, a pastor in a church is answerable to a board, right? The president is answerable to the Senate, right? The CEO of a company is answerable to the board of directors. It means you can't just wake up and do anything you like, because there are external restraints. There are people that will call you to order, right? My friend here, he was a president, NIFES president when we were in school. And as a president, you couldn't just do anything you wanted to do. When you want to make a decision, you have to consult with the ESCOs, consult with the necessary authorities before you make a decision. Now, there were external restraints. You can't just do anyhow. And because you know you cannot do anyhow, there's a way your life will be. You know that you have to behave yourself. You know you have to do the things that are expected of you. Those are external restraints. But when it comes to personal leadership, nobody is looking at you. You are the authority to yourself. You are answerable to yourself. Nobody is going to ask you how far, what are you doing? Are you achieving your goals? Did you set goals for yourself? Nobody is going to ask you that. So personal leadership has internal motivations. The motivations for you to do the things that you need to do comes internally. When it comes to other kinds of leadership, you have external motivations that can help you to achieve the vision of that company, of that organization, or whatever it is. Right? So I said, personal leadership is responsible for the success of other kinds of leadership. You are responsible for your success. No other person is. You need to make up your mind that you do everything that is necessary to arrive at that destination. Nobody is going to help you. You have to come to the place where you tell yourself that truth. Nobody is going to help you. If you don't push yourself, if you don't do the things that are necessary, nobody will do it for you. So when you set goals, you need to push yourself to actualize those goals. The best you can have are friends that will encourage you, family that will ask you how you're doing, how far, how well are you doing. There are people that will have you at heart, right? But ultimately, you are the one to push yourself. You are the one responsible for your success or your failure. Have you seen people who try to attribute their failures to other people? It's because he didn't help me. I know he had money, he didn't help me. That is nonsense. You alone are responsible. No matter what the kind of family you come from, no matter the kind of background you're coming from, you are responsible. There are people who have gone through worse than you did and still emerged as successful. So what excuse do we have? We don't have any excuse. It's true that other people might have a better head start than you, other people might have better opportunities than you, but it doesn't change the fact that you are responsible for your success or your failure. You are still responsible. And you'll be proud of yourself that you did the things that were necessary to arrive at the place of success. Or you're going to beat yourself later in life saying that, oh, I should have done the things I needed to do to be successful. I want you to say out loud, I am responsible for my success. I am responsible for my success. Don't wait for people to motivate you. Don't wait for, if you are waiting for people to motivate you, you are going to be on a very long thing. Because everybody is busy with their lives. Are we together? You are fully responsible for your success. With God on your side and with you taking responsibility, you're unstoppable. But you need to come to the point where you take responsibility. You need to sit down and do some introspections. What are the things that I've not done correctly? What are the things that I'm supposed to be doing right now? You need to sit down and plan your life. Most times, I believe all of us here are Christians. So most times we try to give our success to God. But God is saying, no, I've given you what it takes to be successful. Our religious mindset most of the time is the reason why we don't take responsibility as Christians. We must be responsible people. And when you take responsibility, it means you're becoming very serious about your success. So, the bottom line is you are responsible. Nobody else is responsible. You are responsible for your success. You are totally responsible. People can come in to help you. You can get a spouse, or you can get married to somebody who will support and help you realize, but ultimately you are still responsible. Even when you have a husband or you have a wife who is 100% with you, is there cheering you on, if you don't take the initiatives, all that will come to waste. That's why as a guy here who is yet to be married, you need a vision for your life. Without a vision, what is the woman coming to help you do? In anything God has called you to do, you must take responsibility. You must take responsibility. So, without correct leadership on the personal level, every other form of leadership will be defective. So I said, without you taking the initiative, without you having the internal motivations that are necessary, every other kind of leadership is going to be defective. Chances are that you are going to be pushed, you are going to be dragged. If you are leading a community and you cannot do the things that are necessary, people have to start calling you to order. What's happening now? Why are you not doing the things you are supposed to do? You can see that if that internal motivation is not there, the external motivations begin to suffer, or the externalities that are tied to your personal leadership begins to suffer. The man that is leading the country, for instance, he has zero personal leadership. It's zero. And so the whole country is facing the heat of that failure in leadership. In a country where things work well, they should have called him to order on a lot of issues that happen in this country. But nobody calls anybody to order here. And that's because we have a very defective leadership structure. Forget, politicians are not leaders. And that's why we have a lot of the problems that we have. Democracy as it is very defective. What did I say? Democracy is a government for the people, by the people, for the people, right? So it's expected that once somebody comes into the office of a president or a governor or any other political office, you should be concerned about the people. There should be a vision that guides you to make the people's lives better, right? But that vision is lacking. That vision is lacking. And that's why I say leadership cannot happen until there is a vision. So leadership is needed at every level. Don't think that you are just in your own corner. You don't need, I'll just live my life. At any level where you find yourself, you are called to be a leader. And for your leadership to be effective, your personal leadership has to be effective. If you're going to be an effective mom, you have to be your personal leadership has to be effective. You need to drive yourself to do the things that will make you an effective mother. If you're going to be an effective dad, there are things that you need to do before your child even arrives. There are things you need to do. If you're not motivated to do them, your child is going to be a product of failed leadership. I'm saying this to make you understand that at every level where we are, leadership is expected. At every level, even people that think that there's seemingly nothing to their lives, there is a leader. As long as you can influence somebody, you're a leader. As long as you can convince somebody. Have you ever convinced somebody to do something before? Yes, if you've done that, it means you're a leader. Because leadership is influence. Leadership is influence for somebody to do what you're suggesting or to follow you to the destination you're going. So I want us to take this very seriously. You must do the things that are necessary to turn on your personal leadership. Because once that is in place, everything kind of falls in line. But when you've not dealt with yourself, when you've not dealt with your personal leadership at a personal level, everything is going to become a struggle. It's going to be difficult. Right? So, we need to take personal leadership very serious. We need to do the things that are necessary to arrive at that place where we are responsible for our success. Okay, so I've said this before. Leadership only makes sense when there is a vision to actualize. You must be bound to the vision God has given you for your life. It must become a reality. It must burn within your heart. Why we don't do the things that are necessary most times is because we are not yet one with the vision God has given us. It doesn't burn in our heart yet. And so we can afford to do things the way we like. We can afford to just stroll along life because the vision hasn't burned, it hasn't been ingrained in our minds yet. If you're going to be successful, you must be one with the vision God has given you. Like I said, I'm very sure everybody in this hall has a glimpse of what God has called him or her to do. That thing must burn. It must burn in your heart. If it doesn't burn, you're going to be lackadaisical about it. You're going to just stroll through life. But when it burns within you, when that becomes the only thing you see, it means that all your activities will be channeled towards realizing that thing. And that's why companies, businesses, they have vision statements. They have mission statements because they want every employee to see that thing and see it as something that we are going towards. And so if your vision doesn't burn, if it doesn't unsettle you, chances are that you won't do the things that are necessary for that vision to come to life. How many of us have written our life visions, the things that God has showed you about your future, about your life? How many of you have taken the time to write it out? When you write it out and you see it every day, it propels you to want to realize it. You need to write the vision, make it plain, so that when you see it, you can run with it. But most times, we don't even have our visions written down. We don't have our goals written. We don't have anything about our lives written down. We are just strolling through life. And that's a terrible way to live. What is the vision statement of your life? You know, when you have a vision statement for your life almost becomes like a ritual. The activities in your life almost becomes like a ritual because you know what to do every day. You know what to do every time. You know what your time should be. When somebody tells me they are bored, I'm wondering, is it that you don't know what your life is about, or is it that you don't know where you're going to in life? I'm going to be stepping on some toes, and I'm sorry about it, but it's for the best. You have no business celebrating your birthday when you've not realized what your life vision is. And so we do a lot of things, parties, cake, what else do people do for birthdays? We do all those things, celebrating our birthdays. Meanwhile, the very reason why your life was birthed, you've not even discovered it yet. What are you celebrating? It doesn't make sense. Life is for a purpose. Life is for a reason. The only time life should be celebrated is when it's living that very reason for which it was created. And so it's just like buying a car and parking it in the garage. So the car is there, covered in dust, covered in everything, and we are celebrating the car. What for? The vision the manufacturer had was for that car to transport or move people from one point to another. So we can only celebrate the car when it's doing that purpose, right? We can't celebrate the car when it's just there, parked in dust in the garage. This may sound very funny, but this is the way a lot of people live their lives. We are celebrating birthdays, celebrating all of these things, and the very reason why life was given to us in the first place, we are not even doing anything. We've not even scratched the surface yet. Your vision was born within your heart. I would like to encourage us, if you've not written down your vision, what God has shown you concerning your future, if you've not written it down, please write it down. It simplifies your life. You know what you're supposed to do at every given point in time. It simplifies life for you. So I'd like to encourage you, write it down. The things God has shown you concerning your future, the things you have seen concerning your future, write it down. Put it in a place where you can see it constantly. What that does to you is that it binds you to the vision. It makes you conscious of the vision. And when you're conscious, a lot of good things can happen. Most times we are not conscious. Like I said, we are just strolling. Anything that happens, anything that comes my way, fine. That is far from how God intended life to be lived. So I'd like to encourage you, if you've not written down your vision before, if you don't have a vision, write it down. Put it where you can see it every day. That's the motivation you need. Don't just stroll through life. Don't stroll through life. Be very intentional about your life. One more thing I would like to say is that vision is God-given. You don't write down the vision. You don't just say and decide what the vision for your life is. It has to be God-given. Because the lives we have, we owe it to God. It has to be in accordance with what He designed us to do. Like I said about the car parked in the garage, the manufacturer had some things in mind. There are some design considerations he had in mind when he made that car. So it's expected that that car should live according to those considerations. I'm saying all of this to say that God has a vision for your life, and you must discover what that vision is. Once you discover it, your life's assignment is to find out or bring to the complete finish that vision that God has given you. It's very important. So what is your vision? You don't have to answer. What is your God-given vision? What has God called you to do? What is the problem that God has called you to solve, and you're wasting time? There's an urgency. There's an urgency. The world is too broken for you to say there's nothing good you can do. Way too broken. So, you must discover what your vision for life is. You must discover where the purpose of your life is. What the purpose of your life is. And you must be committed to bringing it to a complete finish. Not halfway. You must do it completely. Completely. Because that's the only way that we can define, or God can say, this person was really successful. Mind your time. How many of us know that 50 years is not a very long time? How many of us are aware that 50 years is not a very long time? Because we have this thing in our heads that I'm still young, I can still play around, I can still have fun, but your life is going and you don't realize it. 1 year is just like 1 year these days is like you just wake up and you're in December. You must mind your time. All of your time should be dedicated to actualizing the vision God has given you. That's the correct way to live your life. Because life, as you know, is measured in time. If you don't use your time properly, it means you're wasting away your life. It's as easy as that. So what are the things that eat at your time? What do you spend your time on? You see, when you understand these things, you don't live life anyhow. You don't go anywhere. You don't just interact with everybody. Your life is defined. You know exactly what you're supposed to be doing. And when a distraction comes, you know that it is not part of the goal. Ten years was just like yesterday. I saw a picture that Tom posted. I don't know if you saw that picture. Did you see it? Okay, I'll share it. And you see it. 7 years ago, when we were doing FYB, Final Year Brethren Sent Forth, I was looking like I don't even know who that was. But I'm trying to say that it was just like yesterday. 7 years, it's gone in a flash. What have I done in my life in that 7 years? And that is the same way 10 years will come in a flash and you'll pass before your very eyes. If you are not careful, you realize that you've lost so much time. And you know the thing, it's very dangerous because time cannot be redeemed. Time cannot be bought back. This is all there is. This is life. Be conscious about where you spend your time. Be conscious about what takes your time. It's very important. Because whatever is taking your time is taking your life. That is what it is. Whatever is taking your time is taking your life. Not everything should interest you anymore. You should be interested in everything. I say, come, let's go for something there. You are there. Come, let's go and watch one match. You are there. Come, let's go and hang out somewhere. You are there. Come, let's go and eat processed fish. You are there. You can't live your life like that, because what you're doing is that you are exchanging your life for things that are not even important. Your time is your life. Guard it very jealously. Nobody should drop in on you. And it's because we don't understand the value of time, we mismanage it. Because we've not really understood, it has not been stamped in our minds yet that time is life. And so we can afford to come to a meeting at any time. We can afford to do things at any time. We must be conscious about our time. I said there's an urgency. The world is broken right now, and the world needs people who are vision driven. Forget all these things that are jumping around. Always want to have fun. People always want to have fun. Is that the purpose of life? We must be very conscious of our time. Your time is your life. Anything that eats your time eats your life. So you must be very conscious about where you spend your time. You must be very conscious about who you spend your time with. Are we together? Mind your excesses, self-denial. So this is a very interesting statement made by Apostle Paul. I am allowed to do anything, but not everything is good. You say I am allowed to do anything, but not everything is good for you. You say I am allowed to do anything, but not everything is beneficial. So there are things that are good but are not beneficial to your life's journey. You must understand and distinguish the things that are good from the things that are important. God did not send you here to come and do good things. He sent you here for a purpose, and it's expected that you live your life in congruence with that purpose. So every other person might be doing things that they feel is good for them, but that's not the point. You must spend your life and your time doing the things that are important, doing the things that are relevant to your life's calling. Not everything is important. Not everything is necessary for you. It might be good, but it's not necessary for your journey. So imagine an athlete, for instance, running a 100-meter race, right? It's expected that you run the race head on without any distractions. But let's assume that along the line, he decided to stop and to take a selfie. Is taking a selfie bad? No, it's not bad. And there are so many other good things that we are doing that we think is worthy of our time, but they are not. They are not. When you do a careful analysis, when you do a careful diagnosis of what takes your time, you realize that many of the good things you are doing are not relevant to your life's calling and purpose. You must be very conscious about this. Not everything. You need to deny yourself of some things. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter is very interesting. There's nothing wrong with it, but is it very important to your life's journey? Have you taken stock of the time you spend on social media? We are all guilty. We don't need to fake it. We are all guilty. It's not bad, but is it relevant for our life's journey? It is not. There are some people that will tell you, people who are serious about life, they'll tell you they're not on social media. And life goes on. Life doesn't begin and end on social media. It doesn't mean I'm archaic. If I tell you that I'm not on Facebook, there's a level of seriousness you have that you don't even have time for social media. I'm trusting God to get to that level where I can have somebody who can handle my social media accounts. Because time is very important. You are scrolling through Facebook or through Instagram and you're laughing or the videos that are there. You don't know that your life is going. It might look very small. You think it's just, but you do that day after day after day, month after month after month, year after year after year. And then you can calculate how much time it has eaten from your life. We must starve ourselves of things that look very good. For some of us, it's football. I like to watch football. I like to watch Premier League. Is it important? It's not important to my life's journey. Is it interesting? Oh, it's very interesting. It's very interesting. We must come to the point where nothing else matters except the purpose that God has called us to actualize. Nothing else matters except the vision that God has called us to achieve. And we must cut away the excesses. There is no shortcut. There is no other way to do it. We must cut them away. Because when you cut your excesses away, you realize that you have a lot of time. I'm telling you. When you cut your excesses, all the things you've been saying I don't have time, you realize that you have a lot of time. The reason why it seems that we don't have so much time is that we are running a race and we are carrying weights. The Bible says that he who striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things. You must be a temperate person. Not everything is worthy of your attention. Not everything. And you must begin to discipline yourself. You might not be a very You might not have gotten to the stage where you're very busy with your vision yet, but you must begin to discipline yourself to begin to think and act like that from now. Because chances are if you don't do that now, when you get to that place, it's going to be difficult for you to do. So you must inculcate that habit. You must begin to cut off the things that are not relevant, the things that are eating away at your time. Very important. Okay, so we've talked a lot about vision. A vision is a blueprint of your destination or destiny. What we call destiny is actually gotten from destination, right? So if you're traveling from, let's say, Abuja to Lagos, Lagos is your destination or Lagos is your destiny, right? So for you to have traveled from here to Lagos, it means you would have had a mental picture of what Lagos is going to look like. Am I correct? Yeah, that's what your life vision is. Having that mental picture of where you are going to, that destination, that destiny is what your vision is about. And like I said here, your vision should scare you to an extent. What you're seeing about with your mind should scare you. It should scare you because you should know that at the stage where you are, you don't have all the necessary resources that can realize the vision you're seeing. You need to maximize the powers of your mind to dream big. That's what I'm trying to say. There is no, I hate it when people like to say, I just want to stay in my small corner. I just want to do my thing. I don't want anybody to disturb me. I just want to do my day. I do my day, you do your day. Have you heard those kind of things before? The Bible says nobody lights a candle and puts it under a bushel. It must shine for the world to see. Whatever God has called you to do, it is for the nourishment of other people. How dare you say you want to hide it? Look beyond, look beyond what you're seeing right now about your life. It's very easy to be carried away because you are restricted by so many things right now, but you must break out from your present environment and look into the future. Don't be carried away by just, you don't have enough money now, okay, you want to do this, you cannot do this, there's no money, how am I going to actualize this, there's nobody to assist me. You must look beyond that. Even though that might be the reality now, you must look beyond that. Every single person who has been successful started small. They look like nothing, but because they were bound to the vision, they kept on going. Have you heard the story of Bishop David Oyedepo? Have you heard the story of Pastor Adeboye? Have you heard the story of Elon Musk? Have you heard the story of Simon Sinek? There are so many successful people. Time will fail me to begin to call them one after the other. They all started small. What it looks like, what's this guy doing? But you see, you're not answerable to any man. You are answerable to God. And it should scare you that you stand before God and you cannot explain what you did with your life. Because we like to get validation from people. We like to get encouragement from people. Oh, you're doing this is very wonderful. That is not the most important validation you need. The most important validation comes from God, and that is the scariest of all. Be willing to start from where you are and be bound to where you're going to. In fact, be happy with the process. If you start small, chances are that when you get bigger, you can manage your success. People who arrive as overnight successes, they never last. They never last. You can check it. People who just blew, they just arrive at the place of success. Your mind has not been built, has not been trained to handle the necessities or the things that will keep you at that spot. But when you've gone through the process, you've built enough stamina to stay there. When you arrive there, some of us envy success a lot. It's very easy. We want to be successful in what we're doing in our businesses, want our companies to grow. This year, I learned that the more successful you get, the more tasking it becomes. My business grew to a certain level and I was gasping for air. I'm being serious. You are a hairstylist, right? I'm sure your desire is that you should have a lot of customers, clients calling you. When you get to the point where 20 people are calling you at the same time, you are going to gasp for air. And I know what I'm saying. But when you start small, it gives you that capacity to grow. And then you know the things that you need to do when you begin to get like 50, 100 requests from people. But if you just arrive there and then you want to start having, you want to blow, you want to just be big like that, it's not going to work. You will fail. Even God said that with one man. Why did God not just create the whole world, 6 billion people? He could do it. He's God, right? But he said with just one. That taught me a very serious lesson in life. Anything I'm doing, I'm okay starting at the level where I can manage it. Because it gets very ugly, it gets very messy. When you're not prepared for success and you arrive there, it gets very messy, trust me. So you must be willing to start where you are and grow into the vision that God has given you. It should scare you, right? But you're not going to start from there. You're going to start small and then grow into that vision. Are we together? Be okay, be contented, be happy with starting small. The world does not celebrate people that start small. They criticize them. So if you've not gone through criticism yet, it means you've not even started. So maybe God called you to do something or to gather some youths together, and then you start doing that and they're asking you, boy, what did you do? What are you spending? What are you doing? People will not celebrate you at that point. When you begin to have a lot of impact on a lot of people, there is people that will come and want to associate with you. That's the way of success. When you're getting started, people don't really care that much. That's why I said from the beginning that you are responsible for your success. You and you alone. With God on your side, you're going to be unstoppable. So, where are you in life currently? Have you started actualizing your vision? Have you started actualizing the things that God has called you to do? These are all components of personal leadership. Remember I said, personal leadership is the discipline of taking a person or a group of people to and through the process of actualizing that vision. I have 7 minutes. 7 minutes. Now. Are we together?
Yes, sir.
It's very important. It's very, very important. We must be leaders at every level we find ourselves. And I said for us to be leaders, there has to be a vision. For that vision to work, it has to burn within your heart. You have to be bound to the vision. You have to become one with the vision. When you become one with the vision, it creates a consciousness in you. And when that consciousness is there, it pushes you to do the things that are necessary for that vision to become actualized. Are we together?
Yes,
So, we must be leaders. Whatever God has called you to do, you must begin to act on it. Alright? Now, most times our vision scares us. It looks very big. And that is why there are goals. A goal is like a short-term vision. Right? So, a goal is a broken down version of what a vision looks like. Alright, so how do you achieve the big vision God has given you? You have to start from setting goals, little goals, daily goals, weekly goals, monthly goals. And when you do that, you discover that your time is going to have a lot of purpose. You won't spend your time anyhow. So, as we enter this year, 2023, how many of us set goals for our lives? I want us to be honest. How many of us set goals for our lives, for our businesses? I'm guessing a handful of us didn't. I want to encourage you, you can still set a goal for 2023. You can still set goals for 2023. You see, when you set goals, it becomes easy for you to achieve success. I found out. I found out, because it restrains all your activity and pushes you towards the actualization of that goal. Rather than when you just want to go through life, you almost just go through the year. Anyhow, where you come, God will help us. Have you heard this kind of people? We go run out like that. Let's just go through the year, But you must be intentional about your success. And one of the ways to be intentional about your success is setting goals. Goals break down the big vision you have into something you can actualize or accomplish in the meantime. So you should have daily goals, you should have weekly goals, you should have monthly goals. As a person, as an entrepreneur, as a business person, as a family person, you need to have goals. When you have goals, it becomes easy to achieve the vision. It's just like you're climbing the stairs. Every step you climb is a goal achieved, and it brings you closer to the realization of that vision. Every single step you take. So I want to encourage you, if you don't have a goal yet, or if you don't have goals, set goals. Set daily goals. Start from daily goals. Set daily goals. Do you know when you set daily goals, you know what you are supposed to do at every time of the day? There are times when I wake up, I don't even write them anymore. I know what I'm supposed to be doing. I have these sticky notes where I just, when I wake up or the night before, I write down what the next day is supposed to look like. And then when I wake up, I'm focused. I know what I'm supposed to be doing. You can't tell me let's go here and I'll be following you, because I have something to actualize. I have something to do. But when we don't set goals, anywhere belle face. You can be caught anywhere doing anything anytime. And that's not how life should be lived. Okay, so I'm really racing against time. Oh boy. So I will just run through the remaining things you have. So when you set goals, the next thing is you need to learn how to set strategic plans to actualize your goals, right? You need to learn how to set strategic plans to actualize your goals. A plan is a very strategic roadmap to realize the goal you have set. So you know you want to accomplish this. Your plan tells you how. Plan answers the how question. How do you accomplish this? And you have to be very strategic in your planning. People think planning is just about sitting down and just doing a couple of things. It takes a lot of brain power. It takes a lot of strategy making plans that would work. I write business plans a lot, and one of the things I like about business plan is one of the sections I like about business planning is what they call what if analysis. Right? So you want to become successful in business, you want to do this. What if it doesn't work according to what you've planned? What are you going to do? And what if it doesn't work according to the second plan you have? What are you going to do? What that does is that it forces you to think about all the possible outcomes and have countermeasures to them when they eventually happen. Don't live your life according to chance. Don't live your life to luck. The mind God gave you is a gift, and you should utilize it. All right. So let's run quickly. So your planning must be strategic for it to be effective. The work of your life, go on. The work of your life is to actualize God's vision for your life and to fulfill your purpose. Your life's work is different from your job. I did a video about this some time ago. Your life's work is different from your job, right? Your job is what you do to earn a living. Your life's work is what you do to actualize God's purpose for your life. Your life's work is superior to your job. Jobs are very important. Jobs are very important. I'm not downplaying it, but your life's work is very important and should be taken seriously. Let's run down. So, discipline. You cannot afford to pursue your goals only when you are motivated. This is very important. You cannot afford to pursue your goals only when we are motivated. You know, most times when we are motivated is when we do things. Remember that, I need to get this done. At that stage when you're motivated, you're getting a lot of things done. But I'm trying to tell you right now that you cannot only push for your goals when you're motivated. You must push beyond the boundaries of how you feel and get the job done. All right, let's go to the next slide. When you are disciplined, your activities become more like a ritual, just like I said. So we all need help. Nobody can achieve personal leadership without the help of God. We are weak, we are fragile, we are frail, and God knows this. God never made any of us to be independent. The life you are called to live is supposed to be tethered and dependent on God perpetually. So God is on your side. God wants you to win and is waiting for you to call upon Him. All right? So, with these few points of mine, I hope you've been blessed. Okay.
Let's celebrate him. And he kept his time.